My name is Carol Smitch and I come from a village called Eukarina, which is about 40 kilometres west of Orange. The cancer that Marty was treated for was supraglottic laryngeal cancer, cancer of the throat. He had surgery on his throat, robotic surgery, and following that he had to have another lot of surgery, a neck dissection, and that was to remove a lot of lymph nodes that were also affected. And following that he had a big round of radiation and chemotherapy. So it was nearly 4 months all up, the first lot of treatment. Some of the early side effects were impossible to swallow. They were hoping with a partial laryngectomy, they were hoping that Marty would recover his swallowing ability, but despite many weeks of trying, it just didn't happen, and they realised that there was just far too much damage there, and he was put on peg feeds. So he went back to theatre and had a tube put directly into his stomach, and those peg feeds lasted for about 14 months. The impact on me, there were a lot of different ways it impacted me. We were quite social, so for a start Marty just wasn't well enough to socialise. Also, just being able to be together. We were always people that sat at the dining table and enjoyed our meals together. All of a sudden it was just me that was eating and Marty was having the tube feeds. So it became increasingly difficult for me to enjoy my food. It was almost like I was hiding to eat it, particularly if it was one of Marty's favourite foods. I would make sure that he didn't see me eating that. Also, the separation, we did spend a lot of time together. Marty did a lot of cooking. I'm not a very good cook. Marty was a lot better than me. But not only was he too unwell to even think about that, food just wasn't part of his day. It wasn't his daily thing anymore. So the process to get him eating again did take a long time, and he had some big decisions to make along the way, and one of those was to eventually have the full laryngectomy, and that way he could start swallowing again because the tubes are completely divided. The esophagus and the trachea no longer joined, so he was able to eat again. But that was a very, very big decision because it's a big loss. To begin with, they continued the peg feeds for a while just to make sure he was getting enough nutrition, but started him on fluids, soups, jellies. Then he progressed to yogurt. And then things became a lot more fun because we started to get back into the kitchen together again, and smoothies were a favourite because it's amazing how many beautiful nutritious things you can get into a smoothie. And then after that, when things like the yogurt, jelly, custard were going down well, then he progressed to scrambled egg. And it just went on from there, and now he's able to eat almost everything. There's only a few things now that he has difficulty with, but it's been a long road. It didn't happen overnight. Marty's actually a type 2 diabetic, so for a lot of years his diet was really restricted, like all diabetics. But post-surgery, because he had lost so much weight, he was actually given free rein. So when he was eating again, it was lots of fun because once again we could introduce the cream, the carbohydrates back into his diet again, and he was eating chocolate custard and things like that. But what we did was puree a lot of vegetables and add that into mince dishes, into the eggs, and like the smoothies and the custards and that, you can top them up with the cream and the yogurt just to add some more nutrition to it. The advice I would give to another carer is it's a long journey, so be very patient and be well organised. I'm a list person, so I would always organise a list for the shopping so that when we went to get the groceries we had exactly what we needed. Do a menu plan, and that way you can shop for all the beautiful fresh things, but you're not wasting them because you've got your menu plan up front, so you know exactly what you need. Good advice that we got from the team for the nutrition. Once again, it's just to encourage Marty or whoever the patient is to be patient and to keep, even if you can't swallow the particular thing that day, to try it again the next day, because with each day it improves. So never give up. And the taste, Marty's taste had changed, so he didn't enjoy the same foods that he was enjoying before. But once again, the team said just keep persisting, and that it is very important to keep up the nutrition, as the weight losses can be quite severe, so they just said keep persisting. To make the food more appealing, we tried some of the things that had stronger flavours, like garlic and chilli, and then on the sweet side, chocolate, which was something that Marty hadn't been able to eat much of for a long time. But the thing that he enjoyed most, I think, is the chilli added to foods. Managing the socialising hasn't been a problem with Marty. He's been amazing. He has always been very extrovert, very social, very friendly, warm person, and I don't know how, but he didn't change that. And it's important. It's important to maintain your friendships and contact with your family, because that's where the support comes from, and that can make your day a lot nicer. And Marty also had, only a couple of months after his initial surgery, he had the wedding of our youngest daughter to go to, so that was an enormous day, and he just stood up to it. He was amazing. But yeah, socially it's very, very important to still mix it, and it's amazing how receptive people are to. They obviously notice the changes. They notice that you can't eat and drink like everybody else, but they, as I said, are very, very receptive. Sometimes they'll just look and walk away. Sometimes they'll ask questions. But it is just very important. It's too lonely if you don't maintain those support circles.